Hi, my name is Clayton Couch. I'm originally from Oklahoma, but have found myself now in the military, and am currently hanging out with some friends here in Pensacola, Florida. But a little bit about my story and my testimony. This testimony is for anybody, but primarily for anybody that might have found themselves as maybe a Christian at a young age that grew up with a lot of Christian influence, and has found themselves going through the storms of life as a Christian, not necessarily finding Christ after those storms. So again, grew up in Oklahoma, a little horse farm, little country area. So I'm a country boy at heart, and I came to Christ at a vacation Bible school when I was about 7 years old. Ever since then, pretty much have been in church. Went to Calvary Baptist Church in my hometown, and went to various other churches growing up as well. But anyway, I was one of those kids that, to be honest, I'm so blessed in so many ways that a lot of times I take for granted what I do have. Because I was always the smart kid and the athletic kid and the successful kid growing up. So yeah, all through high school, 4.0, ace on the baseball team, got into a great school, got to go chase my dreams, like for reals, the way America's meant to be, the American dream. And through that, I found that in my experience so far that your walk with Christ can be very cyclical. Life in general can be very cyclical, and by that I mean sometimes things are going so well, so great, everything's hunky-dory, and you're just really happy. And then, of course, right when everything is at its peak, you're doing great, it tanks, and you kind of go down. And when you go down, you start seeking God. And then it goes back up. And you get comfortable. And then you tank. And it keeps doing this over and over again. So this is something that I found, ever since I was 7, that my relationship with Christ has grown, but then it will wane, and it will grow, and it'll wane, and it will grow, and it'll wane. Hopefully, continually moving up, the way we hope the stock market does. But I guess for me, it came all to a head when I graduated college. I went to military academy, the Air Force Academy out in Colorado Springs. Very strict school, high academic standards, and it's kind of away from it all. We're up on the side of a mountain, and not a place to go if you're looking for a girlfriend, because it's an 8-to-1 guy-to-girl ratio. But it helped me focus on my studies instead. Well, go figure, eventually found a girl there, and that eventually did not work out so well at all. And after that, and after being in a college where I was really kind of cooped up, I never really had the traditional college experience where you go out, you party, you have a good time. So I came down to Pensacola for flight school. Well, time to have some fun, right? So I went out for a few months just hanging out with some of the other military folks that I knew, and it's like, well, we'll have some fun, do some drinking, do that kind of stuff. And through that whole time period, I kept going to church. I faithfully always went to church, which was a saving grace for me, because one day I went to church and I felt the sin just weighing on me. And God just spoke to me through a message. I can't even remember what the message was about, but I just remember the experience. Later that day, I decided to drive out to the beach and just have a little alone time with God, and really what I got from Him in that was, all right, this is the crossroad in the road. You can take one way or you can take the other way. If you're going to be a Christian, you're going to have to live that kind of a lifestyle. If you're not, then go the other way. You have to make a decision. And I said, well, if I'm going to be a Christian, I have to live a Christian life. I've got to turn this around. And so from there, that's when I really started to invest more in my relationship with God and put more stock into going to church and making good Christian relationships, and not completely ignoring everyone else, but kind of keeping them at arm's length in some instances, and not spending all my time with just my work friends. Work friends are for work, and outside of work, you need good Christian fellowship. Fellowship is very, very important, and that's something that I really learned. And after that whole scenario played out, I grew rapidly and found great fellowship and great friends in Pensacola, which I moved on, obviously, and that was about 4 years ago. I moved away, and I find myself back here today because I still have some great Christian friends who, anytime I know, I can go and talk to them. So in some ways, this is, I guess, really a testimony about how life and our relationship with Christ is kind of cyclical. Sometimes we have highs and lows, but you always have to turn back to God when you hit the lows. But it is also, I guess, a testimony about the importance of fellowship and keeping those friends close. You know, you may not talk to them for a long time, but knowing that we both have that relationship with Christ creates an instant bond of brotherhood, or sisterhood, which can't be broken because Christ is eternal, and that relationship with them is eternal as well. And that is the brilliant thing, knowing that for eternity, one day we'll be in heaven praising the name of God. So that is my testimony this far.